Ontario's Child Advocate is calling for changes to the province's group home system. Group homes are supposed to be safe havens for children whose families have broken down or who can't control them. But the Child Advocate says the homes rely too heavily on police for discipline. As a result, the system criminalizes the very kids it's supposed to help. CBC has obtained a new report by the Ontario Child Advocate. It shows that almost half of the teenagers sentenced to open custody come from the child welfare system. Margot Kelly has this profile of 2 Ontario teens and what they experienced in group homes.
Okay, can I get a Coke?
Pepsi?
Okay.
Okay.
Sitting in a coffee shop in a northern Ontario city, David looks like many 18-year-olds in jeans and a hoodie. But his life has been anything but ordinary. David isn't his real name. Young offender laws prevent us from using it.
My mother sort of put me into children's aid when I was 8 or 9 years old. The only reason why I went into there because my mother was too busy hustling, selling drugs and whatnot.
After moving through 2 foster homes, he was sent to a group home.
Well, I went in there with a clean record. I was just an innocent kid.
But that innocence was quickly shattered.
Well, group homes are crazy. It's like one big war zone. You walk in there, you don't even feel human. You feel like a piece of luggage. Like, I remember I was 11 years old, and this big guy, 300 pounds, full of muscle, telling me to brush my teeth. I couldn't find my toothbrush or my toothpaste. He starts running after me down the hall, literally running full speed. I thought I was going to fucking get killed.
It wasn't long until he started acting out. At 13, he was charged with assaulting a worker.
And he kept on antagonizing me, saying you're going to go to jail, and call me a druggie and worthless this, worthless that, on and on and on. I got upset and I pushed him. He says, I'm going to get you, you're going to go to jail, you're going to jail, and he calls the cops and I go to jail. Next day I get out on bail and then I get probation. And he was happy as hell because now he had full control over me. I was like on this big fish hook and I was the fish.
On the hook because now, says David, staff could use any breach of his bail provisions to reel him in and send him back to a young offender facility. And they did repeatedly. He says some of the charges were justified, but most, he believes, were not, like refusing to read a book.
The staff grabbed the book and threw it against the wall and says, if you don't read this book, you dumb fuck, you're going to jail. You don't know how to react. You act scared shitless and then you cry. And then you tell yourself this is going to be over with soon, this is going to be over with soon.
Antidepressant, mood stabilizer, antipsychotic.
18-year-old Buddy shows me his medications. He's out of group homes now, but he was in the care of the Children's Aid since he was 7, after he was beaten repeatedly by his father. He admits he was a troubled kid, but, he complains, staff didn't know how to handle him, so he too ended up with a long list of charges. Buddy says for him, as for many kids, the situation became unbearable.
Some kids will just run away, some kids will cut themselves, some kids will bash their head to a door, like this one kid I knew. Some kids will just smear all their blood on the walls, some will attack staffs. Anything they can think of, they'll do, because it drives them crazy what these staff are doing.
This seems to be a perpetual problem, and it's not solving what the underlying issues are, which may be perhaps this young person has fetal alcohol syndrome, perhaps they've got some mental health issues.
Toronto criminal lawyer Laurie Galway believes the state is criminalizing kids unnecessarily.
I get sometimes very frustrated in dealing with charges that are stigmatizing these young people, not letting them get on with their lives, and an incredible waste of time, money, and not teaching them anything on how to become a productive member of our society.
David has been out of group homes for 2 years now, living in an apartment, trying to be a productive member of society. He's had no trouble with the law since.
All the youth workers are like, you're doing so good, you're not scared you're going to slip up, you're not scared you're going to go back to jail. I looked at them, I'm like, no, I'm not a criminal. It's just because I was living in those group homes and I had to deal with those staffs who shouldn't be working there. They should be working in a prison. I was an angry kid who was tired of being abused from authorities.
The Ontario government is now demanding more accountability from those authorities. The province spends almost $250 million a year on group homes, most of them privately run. The children say at that cost, They should be much more than a gateway to jail. Margot Kelly, CBC News, Toronto.